So the Carabao Cup final, the League Cup, the EFL Cup, Darling, Worthington,
Yeah.
Coca-Cola, whatever it used to be called, Milk Cup. This is the first league final of the season in England. It sees Chelsea and Liverpool go head to head. Thomas Tuchel versus Jurgen Klopp. Varying seasons for them both. How do you view them side by side?
Well, yeah, I guess this is one which it's the obvious thing is to debate these two. And in terms of the games between the two of them, Klopp's only actually won 3 of the 17 games between the two of them, which means that Tuchel's the better manager. Get in the comments and let me know if I'm right. No, I'm joking. But what I will say is that Thomas Tuchel has done some incredible stuff, in particular with Chelsea, of course, in the last year or so. And I think what you would have to say, if you're keeping calm about this one, is that if Thomas Tuchel in this first year, if he's able to replicate that for the next 3 or 4 years, I think then we can have a very, very strong debate about this. In terms of the soft skills of both of them, I think I think he's probably elite when you put him up against anyone in terms of what he can get out of his squad. And I look back at that Liverpool team and I do keep returning to the fact that, Robertson comes from Hull, Mane comes from Southampton, Van Dijk comes from Southampton. All these players and where they've come from, I think it does play a part in all of this because there is an embarrassment of riches at Chelsea a lot of the time, and Tuchel gets to jump into that. That said, his sort of in one game, he is incredible at breaking down the opposition and finding a way tactically. And I don't think we can forget about that. The philosophy of a Klopp side or a Guardiola side, we know what we're going to get every single time they play. Tuchel has a better way, or is more versatile in terms of finding ways to beat an opposition. And that's going to be a big question when it comes to this final itself. I think, look, it's quite an obvious answer. No, it's Klopp is the number one right now when we're ranking them. But Tuchel he's devious and he knows what he's doing when it comes to these big games. How do you feel about this debate between these two who've got both similar kind of CVs at times and similar elements in terms of their personality, but are still actually very different?
Thomas Tuchel is a difficult one to judge. Yeah, he did well, of course, when he was in Germany. He ended up at Paris Saint-Germain. And he had to take care of a squad of big egos, players who hadn't particularly been as successful, and he turned them into Champions League finalists. I think the politics around the club is the reason that he left in the end. And of course, the very high target of basically, if you don't win the Champions League, you're an utter failure. Jurgen Klopp has come into Liverpool and he had a great CV and he'd been to a Champions League before. But it did take him time in England. I think one of the key factors was, is this his squad? Are these his players? Can he work with them? And it took many transfer windows and a growth of Liverpool over several years to suddenly become a really elite team. And he has squeezed the absolute best out of every single player that he's got. But I would be really intrigued to see how we feel about Thomas Tuchel once he has had 3 or 4 transfer windows at Chelsea and the ability to really mould his own side. I think he's still working with what he's got and what he's been given at Chelsea, and he's already won a Champions League. So I think that is massive. He has, of course, won the Club World Cup. And now, if he wins the Carabao Cup, it's another trophy, but it's another massive trophy for him and his job in London. Because the only thing that I would say is we might never get to see Thomas Tuchel have 3 or 4 years at Chelsea if things don't go pretty well between here and the end of the season.
So there's another question when it comes to this final as well, which is, yes, it's one of the domestic finals. It's not the biggest one, whatever that means, but I think you'll understand when I say that. But I guess in terms of winning trophies, which of course is crucial, and winning finals and having those moments and what that can provide to the rest of the season, or more importantly, job security maybe is maybe a bigger one if you're Chelsea's manager. Who needs this more? Who benefits more from winning this final, Hugh? Yeah, I'm intrigued to know what you think on this one, because I personally feel that actually, in terms of the benefit of winning this, I don't think it makes much difference to Tuchel, actually, believe it or not. I think he'll be judged on the Premier League and the Champions League. For Liverpool, I think they have that belief there overall, but I think we've seen it with Man City in the past, that just kind of getting that trophy and having that excitement and go, yeah, this is our year of us doing something really, really big and special. I think it would give that element of a belief to them. And so I would suggest that it would be of more of a benefit to Liverpool and Klopp, who hasn't done very well in this tournament prior to this, if they were to win this cup final. What do you think?
Listen, there are 2 ways of looking at it. how you feel if you're Chelsea or Liverpool the day after the cup final compared to the day after the end of the season, because it could be seen massively differently. I think if you're Chelsea and you lose, for example, on Monday, you might be feeling where there's loads still for us to play for. We could go far in the Champions League. We've already won the Club World Cup. Yeah, we've lost the final and it's not great, but there are many things for us to look forward to. Then if those things don't come to fruition, you look back and say, we lost the League Cup final, and actually that wasn't good enough, particularly against Liverpool. And I think it might be the same for Liverpool as well, because actually at this point in time, I think they're more confident. They feel like the Premier League title race is on. They feel like there's a good chance they can win the Champions League. And actually, if they lose the EFL Cup final, they'll be saying, well, hold a minute, we can still do something really special this season. We can win a Champions League. We could win a Premier League.
I think it adds to the momentum, though. I think it adds to the momentum.
It would be absolutely huge if they can win it anyway. I think just because it's against Chelsea, it's another psychological marker in terms of the big clubs in the Premier League. And it's another trophy. And you want to keep that winning mentality at your club, which could set you up for the rest of the season. As we sit here today, the Liverpool fans think something special is coming. They think they're going to win at least one big trophy this season. And so if they lose the EFL Cup final, they might not be as distraught. Maybe a Chelsea side that certainly doesn't think the Premier League title's coming their way, and maybe the Champions League is an outside bet. Of course, things could turn round by the end of the season. I just think I agree with you on this. I think it's important for both of them to set that marker of winning the trophy. I think it could keep Thomas Tuchel in a job if he wins it. I don't see something special happening with the end of their season in the other competitions. I think he's won the Club World Cup. If he wins the EFL Cup, he'll say, well, hold on a minute. I've only been here for 2 seconds and I'm getting you trophy after trophy after trophy, even if it's not the biggest in English football. And that means that you should keep me on for a longer time. And that means that there should be investment. I think Jurgen Klopp is absolutely solid in his job. Doesn't matter what happens for the rest of the season. So it's maybe less important for him.
Come on then, quick fire predictions. I'm going to go penalties and Liverpool to win on penalties. Milner to score the 5th penalty. I'm going big. That's what I'm going for. What do you think?
I've probably gone bigger. I think Liverpool will win 3-1.
Hi guys, James Allcott here from ESPN's Football Forecast. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed the video and you want to check out more, make sure you subscribe to ESPN UK.